For former Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, he said, let me quote him, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambition," end quote. Loosely interpreted, this means that one may not seek a position of power by all means, but would never refuse one if offered. Former Vice President and presidential hopeful Atiku Abubakar on Thursday demanded to be given the right of first refusal of a presidential ticket by the National Working Committee, NWC, of the PDP. He reminded the august body of his long-standing relationship with most, if not all, members of the party's NWC. Ambition, we are reminded, is the path to success, but the vehicle that takes you there is persistence. But first, let's share the PDP story with you. It's an eye-opener.
First of all, it is the most experienced National Working Committee we have ever elected.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar making a case before the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party on why he's the best among the rest aspirants seeking to clinch the presidential ticket of the party. Atiku Abubakar says he's the most qualified and the only one who has been tested on a presidential ballot and also has what it takes to snatch power from the ruling All Progressives Congress.
I dare say, Mr. Chairman, I am the best candidate under normal circumstances. This is a guy who has already 11 million votes in his kitty. And I think as a party, you should give me the right of first refusal.
We have been speaking to people, and they tell us, if you do not bring Atiku, you can kiss the success bye-bye. So, Mr. Chairman, I present to you your friend and your servant, Atiku Abubakar, for the presidency of Nigeria.
The NWC listened attentively to Atiku and his presidential campaign team, but they also know that they must be seen to be fair to all sides and provide a level playing field for a democratic contest. The national chairman of the PDP also rubbished desperate attempts by some groups seeking to produce a consensus presidential candidate for the party.
Let me take this time to explain to Nigerians that the party has its own internal mechanisms of selecting a candidate, whether by consensus or by election. We do it transparently. Those who love our party more than us should please tarry a little. They should not select candidates for the People's Democratic Party. Our internal processes will go ahead, and we are going ahead with it. At the end of the day, we'll come out with a candidate chosen by the members of the People's Democratic Party themselves. It is that candidate that will present to the rest of Nigeria for the forthcoming elections.
So far, there are 17 aspirants vying for the presidential ticket of Nigeria's main opposition party. But the People's Democratic Party will have to work to worm its way into the heart of Nigerians as it hopes to secure majority votes that will end the administration of the ruling All Progressives Congress. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Thank you, Femi. Emeka, the list is expanding, but you know that Cross River Governor is the latest presidential hopeful.
There are those who are declaring, but are not going to buy forms.
Oh, really?
Yes. I mean, maybe like, the joke,
the
joke out there is that some of them are broke and are using it to raise funds to...
So if they are not buying forms, where is the...
And they've declared now. So
the declaration itself will bring money.
Well, you know the ways. You know the ways of politicians. You cannot. The ways of Nigerian politicians. They are very. You know, they are very.
Have you heard as well that former Speaker Dimeji Bankole is
so you see all kinds of people we are not even heard from for a long time are just calling out, and so, well, you want to know that certain things are at play. It's not just about wanting to pick the party's ticket. So, well, to Atiku's bid, yes, Atiku is a citizen of Nigeria. He is
eminently qualified.
Eminently qualified, yes, and he's talking about what he thinks can count in his advantage. But the 11 million votes, I don't know, they are not frozen in time. The votes, you know, have been dissipated, you know, over the course of time.
I hear they are...
The votes also belong to the party. They are not the personal treasure of the
But I hear those votes are situated in the southeast part of the country.
You see, now that's where the whole thing gets very, very, you know, becomes tricky. Because the Southeast is presenting P2B a very strong candidate. So many people are rooting for P2B.
How many votes do you think the man has in store?
You mean P2B?
Yeah.
Well, it's the electorate now, because, you know, where INEC has been involved in continuous voter registration. So new numbers are being added. It's at the end of the exercise we'll know how many more will be expected to vote at the polls next year. But I think Atiku Abubakar should go beyond just picking at numbers to actually reaching out to the delegates, and then also talking to some of his fellow contenders. Because you see, people within the PDP, they appear to be more serious people than in the APC. I mean, these ones have gone, 17 of them have gone, picked forms, and declared their interest. And the party has said, okay, these ones, we are going to have to contend with them. So now it's about intrigues. He says yes, right to force refusal.
And all that.
Yeah, he says right to force refusal, yes. But some others are saying that on their own. Somebody like Wike is saying on his own that he can muster support for the party. In fact, he can help the party to
Wike says
to win.
The country does not need anybody who will run away at a point.
Well, you know, the words of politicians. Politicians engage in funny attacks on one another. Yes, but what we are talking about is that the country is in dire straits, and the country needs leadership that can put it back on the right track. That's what we need.
You see, my trouble here is Nigerians have very, very short memory. I'm sure you have heard that statement. I don't know if it is debatable or not. But let's consider the cacophony of voices from around the country. Pa Ayo Adebanjo of Afenifere is saying the North is attempting to scatter the South so that they, the North, can remain in power. IPOB is saying no Ndigbo son or daughter must take the position of VP. Senator Ume of Anambra is saying if the Southeast is denied the presidency this time, then it's a gross injustice and all that. So this cacophony of voices is not doing the polity anything good.
Yeah, but it's normal. It's normal. Look, politics is a game of interest. And this is the time that you also advance your own interest. You see, the problem is that we have nations within Nigeria. And people will always want to advance the interest of their own regions and all of that, and which I don't think is wrong.
Okay.
It's not wrong. It now depends on how you are able to persuade the other parts of the country to work with you before you can get there. And that is where our constitution is very good. And before you can be elected, there are a certain number of states that you have to take.
The constitution, in your estimation, is very good.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. It's good. It's good. Even this our
never mind them.
Please, if we work with it, it's fine. We don't work with it. That's the problem.
Emeka, did you hear that?
Well, it's about the operators mainly, not the spirit.
It's
spirit
not the
and
letter.
It's not the letters.
Yeah, the operators themselves. So we just talked about the Electoral Act, what people are doing with it.
Yeah.
So it's about if there are amendments.
And how they
may come in.
interpret these laws.
Yes. So, I mean, if do Nigerians even remember that there was an election that involved father and son as candidates, Sangresi Koko and Avani Koko, who ran against each other, father and son ran against each other in this country.
Without
heavens did not fall.
It happened also in Kwara when Saraki and his father were in opposing.
No, that one was no. This
wasn't a different party, quite all right, but they had different
candidates. This one was that two candidates in an election, father and son, were opposing candidates in an election, and heavens did not fall. So politicians can continue to bring up but what we want is service.
And let me have a right to live in freedom.
And also for the electorate themselves, to be informed, well informed. I think we don't have enlightened electorate.
And that business is that to inform the.
I think it is the business of our national orientation agency, which I do not know how.
No, it has a DG.
It has a DG.
Yeah.
Okay, but I really don't know much about what they are doing. But it's actually...
Sorry. I hear Olushola Julius at Ibadan has joined us again. Shola, good evening. Welcome. Hello, Shola.
Hello.
Yes, Shola, let's go.
Hello, good evening. This is Olushola Julius from Ibadan, Oyo State Capital.
All right then.
Yes. Good evening, citizen. Good evening, madam, and the other brother there. Good evening, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yes, I'm online. Hello.
Go on.
Yes.
We are listening to you.
Now,
go ahead.
Atiku has the right to be voted for. Atiku has the right to vote and to be voted for. And really, he has the right to say he has 11 million votes in his kitty. Why? Because of what has happened in last election. Are you getting me now? But what is so important is Atiku ready for what is happening in our country now? Has he gotten what it takes for him to come out and say and do what is right for Nigerians? Is he going to stand to the promises he's going to give us? Is he having the tenacity? Is he having the capacity? Is he having the power and the boldness to confront the challenges that Nigerians are facing now? Is he not going there because of the nefarious attached to that position? Is he ready?
Thank you, Shola. We got you first time. BC, has Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, does he have, to quote Shola now in Ibadan, does Atiku have what it takes to take frontally on Nigeria's critical problems, insecurity and corruption?
Those are the issues that we should be asking, really. And I was talking about voters' enlightenment the other time. If Nigerian voters are well enlightened, there are many candidates out there now that wouldn't have come out at all. You were also talking about people having short memory. There are people that won't even have the audacity to come out to tell us that they want to go for, and I'm not referring to anybody in particular in this case. I think the conversation should be around who is capability. Because talking about you having 11 million votes in your kitty, what has that got to do with the problem?
Are you asking if the 11 million votes are scattered? Or? I
don't even know where the 11 million votes are to start with.
But don't go to court, BC.
No, because to start with, I could vote for you 4 years ago, and I may not choose you this year in another election. So the fact that 11 million people voted for you in 2015 does not mean that the same number of people...
Does it not underscore what I said? We have very short memories.
So...
and BC, tell you what, I'm not a seer. I know that the next president is coming from either the APC or the PDP. So you would have expected a so-called third force
exactly
to come into the mix.
Exactly, which we are not seeing now, which shows that we are like still in the same, we have not moved forward.
But they say your democracy is a nascent one. You are still in the class.
It's renascent.
After how many years?
How many years? After you don't spend how many
No, we are
years?
no more. It's no longer nascent or renascent.
For what?
it is already established.
A growing democracy.
So these nuisances.
How many new candidates are we seeing? How many new faces are we seeing in APC, in PDP?
Even in the other 16 political parties, 18 political parties.
Who are we seeing? It's still the same set of people.
Same set of people. And if you talk about the third force, you may not totally dismiss the possible emergence of a third force. Of course, the primary, within the framework, there's still up to a month before the primaries. And so, if anything is
that
possible.
third force is likely to also break from the two forces.
From the two, leading political parties.
Major political parties.
Nothing should be ruled out at this point.
Okay. I'm not foreclosing a third or fourth force, but then give us a break. And as BC said, the elector needs a lot of education.
Yes, from INEC, yes.
And from
the politicians
National Orientation Agency.
Yes,
the agencies should reorient.
Should wake up, yes. It should.